Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Thursday. In Jude's New Testament epistle, he is warning believers to hold fast to their faith, reminding them of God's judgment in several areas. He talks about the way he judged the Israelites when they refused to go into the promised land, and they were judged in the wilderness where a whole generation died off. He also talks about judging his angels in verse 6, where he says, "And the angels who did not keep their proper domain, but left their own abode, he has reserved in everlasting chains under darkness for the judgment of the great day." We know that angels are especially created beings by God to do his bidding. They are sent as messengers into this world to let his people know. I'm reminded of the shepherds out on the hillside who heard from the angels about the baby Jesus. I also see them sent as armies of God's judgment upon his people or upon others. In Isaiah chapter 37, there's a picture where the host of the angels is sent out against Sennacherib's army, and they slay 185,000 of his soldiers in one night. The angels of the Lord have a great bidding to do for God. The most of what we see the angels do, by the way, is praising and worshiping him. Like those seraphim that we see in Isaiah chapter 6, who cried out, "Holy, holy, holy, the Lord of hosts, the earth is full of his glory." But we know that many of these angels did not keep their proper place, he said. They rebelled against the Almighty God who was their creator. Kind of sounds like man sometimes, doesn't it? But they chose to follow Lucifer, or Satan, who was the leader of those angels, and he exalted himself above God. And Jude says they left their own abode, which actually means that they were banished from heaven. They were sent to dwell on this earth with Satan. And now they become the minions of Satan, or all demonic forces around us today in our world. All of this came about because they chose not to follow the orders of God. They rebelled against him, and they were punished, and they were cast out of heaven. Not only were they kicked out of heaven, but he goes on to say, he has reserved them in everlasting chains under darkness for the judgment of the great day. Not only did they give up their glorious abode in heaven around the throne, but they forfeited their wonderful job in their ministry of carrying out God's will in heaven and carrying messages and carrying out his vengeance on the earth. And now, at the end of this world, they will be sent to that lake of fire, that bottomless pit, the place of eternal judgment for all those who have rebelled and opposed God. So why does Jude bring up this story? I mean, it's just a fact of God's history. But I think he is seeking to remind us of those who had a glorious position and ministry serving at God's bidding, but they forsook it all and they rebelled. Perhaps Jude is even warning believers, those who are to contend for their faith or hold fast to their faith. The warning is this godly society today is being judged, and we do not want to be placed in that position.